For months, scientists believed they had cataloged every strange behavior coming from 3I/Atlas. 10 anomalies had already been logged. Its impossible mineral composition, its accelerating rotation, its non-ballistic drift, its dust-free wake, its thermal inversion, and a list of smaller signatures that collectively made it one of the most baffling interstellar visitors in human history. After the 10th anomaly, researchers insisted that nothing else could surprise them. They believed they had reached the outer limits of what this bizarre object had to offer. But they were wrong. The 11th anomaly was the one no one was expecting, and when the first data packet revealed it, the scientific community fell silent. The discovery began with what should have been a routine measurement. Observatories were tracking the object's trajectory as it moved into a quieter region of the solar system, beyond the disruptive interference of solar wind. The expectation was simple, clearer readings, but nothing new. Instead, astronomers found something that contradicted every model of interstellar physics they relied on, something that shouldn't exist, something that forced them to rethink the entire framework surrounding 3I/Atlas. The anomaly wasn't a pulse, not a signal, not a structural resonance. It wasn't thermal, magnetic, or gravitational. It was, bizarrely, an absence, a region of missing space. It first appeared as a strange deficiency in background radiation, like a shadow cast where no object existed. When scientists cross-referenced telescope feeds, they noticed that the space just behind 3I/Atlas wasn't behaving normally. It wasn't reflecting cosmic background radiation at the expected intensity. It wasn't scattering particles. It wasn't producing the faint electromagnetic interference that every object drifting through the solar system inevitably creates. Instead, the area trailing 3I/Atlas had fallen silent, a literal quiet zone in space. Engineers triple-checked the data, recalibrated the instruments, and even suspected a sensor error. But multiple observatories across Earth, radio, optical, infrared, and others, confirmed the void. Something about 3I/Atlas was erasing its own wake. At first, the idea seemed ridiculous. Interstellar objects always leave disturbances behind them: dust trails, gas trails, magnetic turbulence, or at the very least, a faint bending of local radiation. That's how astronomers track them. But behind 3I/Atlas, there was nothing. No dust, no particles, no subtle distortions, no residual radiation. A perfectly clean corridor of space extending thousands of kilometers in length. And the void was expanding. Each day, the wake grew wider, deeper, and more uniform. It was as if the object was carving a tunnel through the fabric of the solar system, not by force, but by erasure, removing the normal interactions that should exist. Not displacing space, not tearing it, just silencing it. The first major theory was that 3I/Atlas had developed a plasma sheath, something charged enough to sweep particles away. But that explanation fell apart quickly. Plasma sheets glow. They emit radiation. They cause noise. This wake emitted nothing. Then came the quantum explanation. Perhaps the object was interacting with vacuum energy in a way not seen before. Maybe supercooled exotic metals were producing a temporary decoherence bubble, dampening quantum interactions. But even the most optimistic physicists admitted the scale was far too large. If it were quantum, it would require energy levels comparable to a collapsed star. That's when panic quietly rippled through the research community. The 11th anomaly didn't look like a natural byproduct of any known cosmic material. It resembled a controlled effect, something maintained by an internal or external mechanism, something designed to suppress physical signatures, something that looked eerily similar to stealth. That possibility was horrifying. If 3I/Atlas was generating a stealth wake, intentionally or accidentally, then its behavior was far beyond anything a mindless piece of rock could achieve. That would imply architecture, engineering, purpose. No one wanted to say that publicly. Instead, scientists tried to reclassify the discovery as a null space gradient, a term vague enough to calm public speculation. But behind closed doors, teams scrambled to understand the implications. The deeper researchers analyzed the wake, the stranger it became. Instruments placed along projected paths detected a measurable drop in particle density. Even neutrinos, ghost-like particles that pass through almost everything, were behaving strangely, scattering less than expected. Nothing like this had ever been observed. Not around comets, asteroids, rogue planets, or interstellar visitors. When a team running simulations removed 3I/Atlas from the model entirely, something chilling happened. The wake pattern persisted, like an imprint burned into space. That led to a disturbing conclusion. The anomaly wasn't trailing the object. It was anchored to its trajectory, as if 3I/Atlas wasn't just traveling through space, but altering the path itself. The object seemed to be leaving behind a corridor of stabilized nothingness, a kind of spatial footprint. And that footprint was not fading. It was retaining its structure long after the object had passed through. This alone defies everything scientists understand about the behavior of physical systems on cosmic scales. A corridor of silence in space should collapse instantly. Instead, it was holding. By the time the 11th anomaly made headlines, speculation had already spiraled to impossible heights. Some researchers believe the wake might be a remnant of the object's interstellar journey, a kind of shielding effect that protected it from cosmic radiation during travel between stars. If that were true, then 3I/Atlas wasn't drifting randomly. It was following a preserved path. Others believed it was a signature of an internal mechanism buried deep within the object. Something ancient, something dormant, something that switches on only under specific conditions. Some believed it wasn't dormant at all. But the most unsettling theory came from an unlikely source. A mathematician studying the shape of the void, not the physics behind it. She noticed something no one had considered. The wake wasn't just empty, it was symmetrical, perfectly symmetrical. Its boundary was smooth, curved at exact ratios that did not match any known natural turbulence patterns. You don't get perfect symmetry in space. Not from rocks, not from comets, not from debris fields. Symmetry implies intention. If the wake is intentional, scientists whispered, then so is the journey. So is the trajectory. So is the timing. The 11th anomaly forced researchers to revisit earlier data. Suddenly, older mysteries made more sense. The object's oddly stable spin, its non-random drift patterns, its refusal to shed debris, its unusual mineral ratios. All of these quirks could be reinterpreted under a single, terrifying framework. 3I/Atlas might not be behaving like a natural object because it is not a natural object. Of course, no one wanted that conclusion to be true. But the evidence kept pushing in that direction. When the wake began emitting faint microdistortions, tiny fluctuations in space-time detected only by the most sensitive gravitational instruments, researchers finally accepted that the anomaly was far more than a simple void. The wake was interacting with space-time itself. That was the breaking point. A gravitational signature with no mass, a tunnel that doesn't collapse, a corridor of silence anchored to the object's motion. Those are characteristics not of matter, but of systems. The conclusion many scientists fear to admit is that the 11th anomaly resembles the early stages of a propulsion effect. Not a rocket, not an engine, but a field. Something manipulating space-time to reduce resistance. Something carving out an optimal path. Something that lets an object travel vast distances with minimal energy loss. Something like a star-to-star transit mechanism. If 3I/Atlas once belonged to a civilization, or was created by one, this wake could be the fingerprint of a journey older than human history, older even than Earth's solar system. The object could be a probe, a relic, a vessel, a fragment of something larger, or something entirely unknown.